Accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So this is your servant Srinivas Acharya Das, and we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8 and Chapter 5 and the text number 25 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatradrishta Swarupaya Srutapauravaya Vai Prabhu Stutim Abruta Devibhir Girbhistavahitendriyaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Adaya Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There at Shetadvipa, Lord Brahma offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead even though he had never seen the Supreme Lord, simply because Lord Brahma had heard about the Supreme Personality of Godhead from Vedic literature. With a fixed mind, he offered the Lord prayers as written or approved by Vedic literature. Purport. It is said that when Brahma and the other demigods go to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Svetadvipa, they cannot directly see him, but their prayers are heard by the Lord, and the needful action is taken. This we have seen in many instances. The word Sruta Porvaya is significant. We get experience by directly seeing or by hearing. If it is not possible to see someone directly, we can hear about him from authentic sources. Sometimes people ask whether we can show them God. This is ludicrous. It is not necessary for one to see God before he can accept God. Our sensory perception is always incomplete. Therefore, even if we see God, we may not be able to understand him. When Krishna was on earth, many people saw him but could not understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Avajanantimam moda manusyam tanum asritam. Even though the rascals and fools saw Krishna personally, they could not understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even upon seeing God personally, one who is unfortunate cannot understand him. Therefore, we have to hear about God, Krishna, from authentic Vedic literature and from persons who understand the Vedic versions properly. Even though Brahma had not seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead before, he was confident that the Lord was there in Svetadvipa. Thus, he took the opportunity to go there and offer prayers to the Lord. These prayers were not ordinary concocted prayers. Prayers must be approved by Vedic literature, as indicated in this verse by the words Daivibhir Girbhihi. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we do not allow any song that has not been approved or sung by bona fide devotees. We cannot allow cinema songs to be sung in the temple. We generally sing two songs. One is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. This is bona fide. It is always mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it is accepted by the Acharyas. The other, of course, is the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We may also sing the songs of Narottam Das Thakura, Bhaktivinoda Thakura, and Lochan Das Thakura. But these two songs, Sri Krishna Chaitanya and the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, are sufficient to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although we cannot see him, seeing the Lord is not as important as appreciating him from the authentic literature or the authentic statements of authorized persons. End of purport. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितम् तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। सप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। So Prabhuji and Mataji, today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, 5:25. There at Svetadvipa, Lord Brahma offered praise to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though he had never seen the Supreme Lord, simply because Lord Brahma had heard about the Supreme Personality of Godhead from Vedic literature. With a fixed mind, he offered the Lord prayers as written or approved by Vedic literature. So in Brahma Samhita, we hear when Lord Brahma was the original and only living entity in the beginning of this creation, and he was searching for the purpose of his life, like many of us, and he has no examples. He was the only one, and he continued, and eventually performed tapasya, pleased Krishna. Krishna imparted the Vedic knowledge not by personally presenting before him, but through Kama Gayatri, through the sound vibration that came from his flute, from Goloka, Vrindavan and spiritual world. When that divine sound traversed from spiritual world of Goloka all the way into this particular material planet and entered through his ear holes and went into his heart and started expanding, all the Vedic knowledge was expanded in Lord Brahma's heart. And that knowledge was stolen by Madhu and Kaitaba during the latter time. And Lord Haigreva came in. And it is considered in Vedic literature that Haigreva expansion of Krishna is the spiritual master for Mata Saraswati. And we hear that Mata Saraswati gives us all the education. But the Guru for Mata Saraswati is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And we just concluded Kartik, month of Kartik, glorifying Damodar. And you might have heard profusely the glories of Krishna when he was very young and performing pastimes in Vrindavan. And especially that Damodar Leela was so significant to convey one message for the rest of the year until we come back to Kartik next year. That when Krishna was sitting on your lap, in this case it is Mata Yashoda, and Mata Yashoda is directly serving Krishna by breastfeeding him. There is nothing else that ever needed. It is all the fructification of many lifetimes of tapasya. But unfortunately, in material world, what happens is when we receive such a gift, of the gift of all gifts of serving Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, there is always a temptation of material benefits right there. And that temptation is a boiling milk on the wooden stove, and it is overflowing. It is not just Mata Yashoda, but everybody is subjected to this. So here in this pastime, Krishna wants to teach all of us that when we are doing service to Krishna, nothing else matters. When we are attracted or distracted by the material opulences, and when we put down the service as a secondary, even if we are Mata Yashoda, that does not please Krishna. That's what through Damodar Leela, that message must be clearly understood. So the material opulence is the test that Maya throws at us to take us away from the service of Krishna. So even if we have even slightest inclination towards material opulence, the glitter of material world, we will lose the greatest opportunity of serving Krishna. So in this chapter, the Devatas, during the previous Manvantras, they went through the trouble. And through that trouble, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that the hope of joy will disappear when we depend upon anyone other than Krishna. So as we chant more and more, as we read more and more, as we hear more and more, as we serve more and more, we slowly come to an understanding that bhakti is singular. That if we try to source our happiness from anybody other than Krishna, and the end result will be suffering. Because Krishna is all perfect, he is the supreme controller, and he is supremely pure, and he has all the qualities that we should not be distracted from him in any matter. So if we want joy or happiness, we should derive that happiness in Krishna consciousness from Krishna directly. But if we depend on that joy from our family, from our siblings, from our husband, our wife, our children, our neighbors, our work, so the end result will be suffering. So in this case, what happened was, in previous Manvantras, the demigods fought with Danavas, demons, and they were defeated. And Durvas Muni curse came in the way, and they lost all the opulence. And they were miserable. And they were miserable and suffering. And Parikshit Maharaj was hearing this story, and he was so sad that the threefold miseries of material life, every living entity was literally burning in the fire of threefold miseries all the time. And what will put that fire down is the hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj was asking his spiritual master that to glorify Krishna more and more, he wants to hear more and more when the Devatas ran into this trouble. What did the Supreme Personality of Godhead did? And how they overcome this problem. So he wants to hear the Lord's glories more. And it came to the point of this verse when the demigods walked to the place of Mount Meru and started worshipping Lord Brahma and disclosed their condition. And Lord Brahma, upon hearing the sorry state of the Devatas, so he took all of them to the Sweta Dvipa. So it is clearly mentioned here that Lord Brahma has not seen Supreme Personality of Godhead until then. He only heard about him. Because this whole material cosmos was created by the sound. and the way to get out of this material world is also by the sound. And that sound vibration is more pure than anything else that exists in this cosmos. So, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the other demigods, we have to very clearly understand, irrespective of our realization about Krishna consciousness, that we should not try to equate any demigods with Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. So in this verse, it is very clearly explained that the topmost of all the jivas, Lord Brahma himself has never seen Lord Vishnu until then. So he goes to Svetadvipa, he goes near the Milk Ocean, and he offers the Purusha Sukta prayers. And Srila Prabhupada comments in second paragraph of the purport that those prayers must be authentic. We cannot take anything by whimsical or anything that we like and try to please Krishna. So no trespassing. So if some of us who come from multiple backgrounds, and when we accept a guru, when we accept Krishna consciousness, when we accept bhakti, initiation, and we still try to hang on to the old habits of trying to do those activities. So here it is very clearly accepted, that clearly explained that trespassing is not permitted and not allowed. So we accepted a guru, whether that guru, whatever that guru says, is what we need to practice. So Srila Prabhupada, somewhere else, he explained that whatever we are destined to get in this life is already decided by our karma in previous lives. So such a loaded statement, such a loaded realized statement, that anything that will happen for the rest of the life and throughout this life in this material body is already decided, signed off, approved, and in execution by previous karmic activities. So that when we perform, before we came to Krishna consciousness in previous lives, when we performed some karmic material activities, ritualistic activities, immediately karmic script is generated. Automatically it provides that script. And material life is nothing but execution of that, helpless execution of that karmic script. So whatever is going to happen in this material life, in this life, even though we are practicing bhakti, that script will continue to exist. So what Prabhupada said, that by practicing Krishna consciousness in this lifetime, we cannot change what happens in this life, but we can change what happens in next life. So by practicing bhakti, and by pleasing our spiritual master, the spiritual master will decide where we will go next life. So in Haribhakti Vilasa, Srila Sanatana Goswami explains very scientifically with the authority of the Shastras from various scriptures that why it is so important to accept a spiritual master and why it is so important to stick to his instructions by word, by actions, and by thoughts. So, as we go through our Krishna consciousness, we understand that the greatest aspiration of life is to be an instrument of Krishna's love. By distributing that love by receiving that love, first of all, we are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has blessed us. And by distributing that love to others, and we will be still more fortunate that we will become an instrument in the service of Krishna. Now, here what happens is, the Devatas ran into so much trouble, and the Lord Brahma prays to Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead takes the incarnation, and then the problems are resolved subsequently. But what is important for us as a devotees from this Srimad Bhagavatam Is that to understand that demigods, including Lord Brahma, are servants of Lord Vishnu. And in the very first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada explains that the importance of the method of interacting with this world. And he says it is not through eyes, but it is through ears. Shastra Chakshu. We have to see this world through hearing, through the Shastra, not by eyes, because we have those 4 defects. And our material senses will always cheat us, and that cheating propensity is one of those 4 defects. So we have to see through the ears. That's exactly what Lord Brahma is doing here. Lord Brahma heard about Krishna from Shastra, that he lives in Shvetadvipa as Lord Vishnu, as one of those 3 avatars, Vishnu expansions. And now that his children, who are the demigods, are in trouble, and he has to help. And in order to help them, he went directly to that Shvetadvipa because he has such a faith. He has such a faith in the Shastra that Lord Vishnu lives in Shvetadvipa. So that trusting the Shastra shows the maturity of spiritual life. Sometimes, the doubt may come within us that all these stories and all these descriptions. Prabhuji, can somebody mute, please? Okay. I hope somebody mute their line. So Lord Brahma went to see Shvetadvipa because he heard about the Lord Vishnu lives there. And we have to train our ears to see, just like Krishna can eat with his eyes, can see through his hand. Similarly, as the devotee becomes more and more pure, he acquires those qualities as well. Like Arjuna, when he was under training in Gurukula, so he was shooting arrows in dark. And when Dronacharya realized that how come in this pitch dark you are exactly able to shoot arrows to the target. And Arjuna gave an example of Bhimsen. And Bhimsen is quite hungry. And middle of the night he walks into the kitchen and he knows exactly where each pot is there, and he finds his food and he eats and comes back and sleeps. So with no light at all, and Arjuna thought that if he can find the food that he likes, why cannot I find my target that my arrow can shoot? So he started practicing in the darkness. So his eyes completely useless in such a darkness. So he trained his hands and fingers to see through them and shoot arrows. Similarly, as a devotee, we have to train our ears to see this world and understand this world, about this world, through ears. And ears will function as eyes. And that is what Shastra Chakshu means. When we do that, and what we need to keep in mind that we are all so blessed in being in Krishna consciousness at this moment of this Kali Yuga, our lives, in this age, where there is suffering everywhere, 365 degrees, 360 degrees, everywhere, all around, and the world is suffering and suffering. And we are so fortunate that we follow to the greatest degree what our Guru says, and we do not follow what he says not to follow. So this what happens is, just if we imagine the metaphor can be something like this. So if we are the son, if we are the children of a greatest musician, and we want to learn music, and we go to somebody else other than learning from our father, and how does that father feel like, right? So if we do not follow what Guru says must follow, and if we follow what Guru says must not follow, so our Guru feels like that musician, father and musician, and we commit an offense at his lotus feet. So we have to be keep in mind that we are in a parampara, we have guardrails in our process, and we should not be distracted by the material glitter. And we should not be distracted by the material opulence. We should not be striving for too much to acquire materially, and our goal is to get Krishna Prema and distribute that Krishna Prema. Okay, Prabhuji, that's all I want to say today. Srimad Bhagavatam, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think, can you see me, Prabhuji? My video is showing that?
No, Prabhuji, we are unable
No,
to see
Prabhuji,
you.
we can't see you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay. So there is something wrong. Okay, you don't have to see me. That's what today's content is. If you hear me, yeah, if you heard me, that's all we need.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the session. Leland Prabhuji is here, I think. Prabhu, you're on mute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavatsana, Prabhuji. Actually, I'm not feeling well, so I joined a little late. Thank you, Prabhuji, for extending yourself and giving the class today morning. Prabhuji, one reflection. 1 minute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, one thing that, for a newcomer, especially if people who come to Krishna consciousness, they would not like to hear is, this life will anyway remain the way it is as per the past karma. And it's Krishna consciousness is mainly about your next life. That is something that many times people, when we said that, they did not feel nice. So how do we give them additional hope of practicing it and experiencing that bliss in this life itself? Prabhuji.
So this question was asked in many different ways with several senior sannyasis also, Prabhuji. So one of the things that was strikingly enlightening for me came from His Holiness Sivaram Swami Maharaj. So Maharaj was in New Vrindavan, and he said that when a jiva accepts a human body, the 9 planetary systems were governs the movement of that living entity. This is what when we do Janma Kundali, the astrological chart based on those 9 planetary systems. So that is pretty much it is like we're programmed, because most of your software are technical. So you can consider that the astrological influence of the planetary systems and what happens past, present, and future is like a completely programming our life, because with the help of 3 modes of material nature, those 9 planetary systems will minutely and microscopically control the jiva's destination to the degree of thought, manasa, vacha, karmana, means mind, thoughts, words, and actions. So it is very tightly scripted and executed. That's the reason when I said the material life, when not surrendered to Guru, it is a helpless execution of the karmic script. But when we surrender to Guru, Maharaj was explaining that when we sincerely and completely, wholeheartedly surrender to a Guru, and when that Guru is coming in a parampara, Vaishnava parampara, and there is no parampara outside Vaishnava parampara for that matter, even though some people like to equate their apasampradayas and the nonsensical things with Vaishnava parampara. There is no such thing as any parampara outside Vaishnava parampara. So when the jiva surrenders to a Guru, a Vaishnava Thakur, what happens is the Vishnu Graha, the 10th planet, will enter into his life or her life. And Vishnu planet, even the greatest astrologer cannot even predict the movement of that Vishnu planet. And that Vishnu planet can decide, move, alter, change, delete, anything he can do in that devotee's life, even in present life. So, but how Lord Vishnu will do, if he decides to do, is explained in Bhagavad Gita, that ye adhamam prapadyante tam tadeva bhajamyaham. So, based on our degree of surrender, Krishna will reciprocate. But this is an interplay of 2 things. One is a surrender, and 2, the previous conditioning, the karmic results of previous lifetime. So it is a very very thick fluid that is trying to move at a faster speed, right? So what speeds up that movement is more and more renunciation and more surrender. So in our Krishna consciousness movements, even those who accepted sannyasa, some of them had trouble and stepped down because they overestimated their degree of surrender. And some devotees who are at very entry level did not even progress. And I know some of them personally, even after 20 years, they have not taken initiation. And even after taking initiation for several years, they did not make any progress. And why? Because they do not made any progress towards renunciation. So we see 2 things. 1, overestimation of degree of surrender, and 2, not even attempting to do renunciation. So between these 2, we have to find the optimal value in our own life. Based on our previous conditioning, we cannot imitate others. This is what we learn in Krishna consciousness. We should not imitate others, but we have to follow in the footsteps. based on our conditioning, based on our situations, time, place, and circumstances, we have to continuously seek the next high degree of surrender, the next high degree of renunciation from material things. Unless we take those two things and keep pushing towards, so what will happen is this life, even after initiation, this life will continue as it was, as if it is without a surrender. But what happens if it is surrendered? Like I said, Maharaj was explaining that once this degree of surrender becomes more and more, so like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj told in a very famous way to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, throw that Surya Siddhanta in the dustbin of time, right? So when Vishnu enters into your life, nothing will, no other planet will control your life. Only Vishnu will control your life. So the faith is in Vishnu. So when we take initiation in a Vaishnava Sampradaya, Lord Vishnu, as Srila Prabhupada explained, he directly and personally takes charge of the devotee's life. But that is, we should not take that for granted. We should not take that as cheap. If we do that, we are committing the offense. So what we need to do is that we have to take it as a very sacred, and we have to put it in our heart in an altar and start worshipping Krishna, that this is once in millions and millions of lifetimes. Even demigods will not get it. Because bhakti is more appropriate for human body, because the pleasure and pain are equally given to this body. In a higher species of life like demigods, there is so much pleasure, and in lower species there is so much pain. But in this body only it is equal, so that we get reprieve and given an opportunity to practice bhakti. So understand clearly that bhakti grows in grateful heart. And gratitude takes birth from the womb of humility. And humility is something that is explained and imparted by the Guru. So when we surrender to Guru, we have to understand that Guru's position is such a sacred thing that no other person can replace it. So in a conditioned life, when we are preaching to somebody who is thoroughly conditioned, sometimes the parents will stop that particular aspiring devotee from taking initiation or practicing Krishna consciousness. Sometimes their spouse will stop them and they try to act as their guru. We have to understand very clearly that a guru is a guru, the acharya, right? No materially conditioned person can imitate or try to replace that position. So bhakti is very sacred. It is not obtained, it is given. So in this lifetime, there is a success. So, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, if we try to follow the four regulative principles to the degree of spirit Srila Prabhupada explained, not to the degree what we think Prabhupada explained, but to the degree and the spirit that Srila Prabhupada explained. And if we follow those four regulative principles and completely control all our anadhas, especially the lust in the heart, and if we chant 16 rounds every single day, we are performing the greatest tapasya. And it is guaranteed by Srila Prabhupada himself that at the time of death, even if we don't remember Krishna because of an unfortunate incident, even if we do not remember Krishna, still Krishna will remember us. And he will do the needful. That is the assurance given by Srila Prabhupada. But the common denominator is that we should not take any of this for granted, that I have taken initiation, so I am not taking birth again. There are incidents when devotees keep taking birth over and over again. Is that all right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So the greatest devotees, Prabhuji, to answer in another way, to answer your question, as a devotee advances more and more and more and more, they, in their ecstasy of realization, they felt that they are not at all worth of anything. They are not worth going back to spiritual world. They are not worth receiving Krishna's mercy. They are condemned to eternity in this material world, and they are such a useless. But that humility, as it expands in the consciousness of such a pure devotee, they are not bothered about liberation, and they are not bothered about next life. They are not bothered about any of such things, but they always think they are so disqualified to receive any such mercy. But in early stages, we are so overwhelmed by the thought because of our material conditioning is, as Krishna explains, karmanya vadikaraste mapalesa kadasam. One of the root cause for our suffering is we are so much fixed on the end result, the result that comes because of our karma rather than the process itself. So, but bhakti trains us that, don't even look into that fruit. Your responsibility and your story ends after you complete. And, somebody else will decide whether to give that fruit to you or not. That is a Himalayan shift in our consciousness, Prabhuji, to practice. We don't even try to think about that. It is so difficult not to think about the result of our karma and just practice our duty and responsibilities for the sake of doing it. That is such a difficult thing, especially for a grahastha in Kali Yuga at this point in time.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I see that, I have a couple congregation members in Charlotte, and they are initiated, and I am struggling to impress upon them not to look towards that pot boiling with milk. So it is very difficult, probably. So, but living with a family in the material world, surrounded by, if your wife is initiated, Brahman initiated, chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, all glories to you. Krishna has topmost mercy upon you. If it is not, so we have been tested 7/24.
Hare Krishna.
I was reading Hari Bhakti Vilasa to write Vyas Puja offering to Maharaj. And I was recollecting some of my earlier understanding of Krishna, that I am pushing the devotees to submit their offerings to Guru Maharaj. So while I was reading Hari Bhakti Vilas, I was thinking why I need to push so much. Everybody is initiated, and the Shastra says that we should worship Guru with our word, with our mind, and with our actions. The Guru is the single outlet. The Guru is the single outlet to receive Krishna's mercy and to get out of this material world. Only one outlet. And we will not make progress outside of Guru's mercy. So that is given. And we study in our Vaishnava literature that when a devotee is passing by and if we do not offer our respects to him, it is a Vaishnava offense. And on a Vyasa Puja day, and if we are not submitting offerings, if we are not submitting gratitude offerings, if we are not submitting Vyasa Puja offerings, so what does that mean? Are we ignoring our Guru? And if we are ignoring our Guru, how can we expect a Guru to continuously guide? So these are the challenges, Prabhuji. The human tendency is to take things for granted. That, I came to Krishna consciousness, I'm chanting, I'm initiated, then it is my Guru's responsibility. I don't have any other responsibility to fulfill.
Prabhuji, I often heard your talks and your dependence on Guru and need for submission to Guru, taking shelter of Guru is so much highlighted in your talks, Prabhuji. That's really something that I always will to hear from you. In spiritual, a lot of people, Guru becomes a fashion statement. It's like, okay, I have a Guru, I'm aspiring from this Guru, and they don't want to develop any personal relationship through Vani also with that Guru. And the Guru remains a name, a name in spiritual life when somebody asks, or a small picture in the altar when we go for Aarti. Other than that, the dependence on that Guru, the constant prayer to the Guru that please save me from this situation doesn't remain. And you are very much right that, I myself am struggling with that, that constant remembrance and taking shelter of Guru.
No, for me, Prabhuji, especially, I don't know, so something must have stuck in my consciousness. But as I heard Maharaj speaking about Narottam Das Thakur, how much he worked hard to convince Loknath Goswami to take initiation from him. That went deep into my consciousness. Then his own struggle, Maharaj's own struggle until he accepted the initiation from Srila Prabhupada, right? So the Shat Goswami's literature, Haribhakti Vilasa, for example, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatan Goswami to compose that literature, and Raghunath Bhatt Goswami providing all the key scriptural evidences, and Sanatan Goswami composing and expanding all those things, and the first Vilasa explains that how much important it is and how much dependent it is to have a Guru and follow with that Guru. So, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. Nadi Chakravarti Thakur. So, the conclusion is that there is no spiritual life outside Guru's mercy, period. And the soon we come to that realization, and our spiritual life begins.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Tanat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, in the purport, it is mentioned that even the prayer also should be a bona fide prayers, right, Prabhuji? Like you cannot have anything else other than what is mentioned in the scriptures.
Yes, Prabhuji. That's everything must be bona fide. And Prabhupada himself, as you know, of course, you are asking for everybody else on the call. So Prabhupada himself said that a devotee in a parampara, he has no authority to alter the message of previous acharyas. He has to transmit the same message as it is, whatever they have been explained. So, in this case, Brahma is one such disciple of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when he goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, to present an unfortunate incident, in this case, the Devatas were bereft of all the wealth, power, and everything. Danvas have taken over. All the three worlds was suffering and nothing but suffering. So when Brahma went there, he cannot write an email and send it to Lord Vishnu and expect a reply back next day morning or a text message from him. So, it won't work like that. So here in this case, he has to accept that he is an insignificant person. He cannot even see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has to sit on the shore of a milk ocean, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead sitting somewhere in the middle of the ocean, and cannot be even seen by the eyes of Brahma. So the only way to communicate him is offer the Purusha Sukta prayer. And when he sincerely, the Lord will hear those prayers when Brahma hears with full surrender and sincerity. It's just like in Ramayana. The stones were thrown into the water, and the monkeys were asked to walk on the stones, and they were floating. And any one monkey that does not have complete faith in Sri Ram will immediately fall into the ocean. Can you imagine, Prabhuji, if we have to walk that bridge, how many will fall into the ocean? So there were monkeys falling down. And Hanuman and other Angada and everybody again, jump into the ocean and bring them back and train them and, have full faith in Sri Ram and train them, put them next into the line and they walk. And eventually everybody made it, right? So similarly, that faith, even though we are the monkey army to Sri Ram, even though Lord Brahma was, still the need is complete faith and surrender. So when that Purusha Sukta prayers were sung in complete faith and surrender, the Lord Vishnu hears them and communicates back. And those Purusha Sukta prayers are authorized and given according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And why we sing the songs in Sanskrit, nobody understands in Kali Yuga, Prabhuji. That is what Krishna wants us to do. Right? Why we sing Bengali and here Sanskrit songs is because that's what Krishna wants us to do. Those are the authoritative.
Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji. And one more thing, in the last line, they mentioned that having darshan of Lord is not important. Also, they mentioned, right? Can you explain a little bit on that, Prabhuji?
Yeah, that is, I think probably the best answer comes from His Holiness Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained to all future followers of the Gaudiya Sampradaya that we should not try to see Krishna, but we should serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see us. So when he gave that eternal instruction, he clarified that serving and service is more important than seeing Krishna. So that's what Prabhupada is emphasizing. We should not try to see Krishna unless Krishna wants to reveal himself. So see, this is the purpose, Prabhuji. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that we should not try to see Krishna, but we should serve him in such a way that he wants to see us. And at that time, we will see Krishna. But think of the other way. Even if we want to see Krishna and Krishna does not want to reveal, so can we see Krishna? No. And when Krishna will reveal to us, only when he is pleased with our devotional service. In a way, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is also saying same thing. So don't try to see Krishna and serve him in such a way that he wants to see us. And there is no other option for us. And another example goes in Narad Muni's lifetime. In Srimad Bhagavatam, actually in first canto, Narad Muni, when he was 5-year-old boy, he goes to forest and does tapasya and gets the darshan of the Lord. And he was so ecstatic. And after seeing the Lord, his existence was completely purified, and he was blissful, and he had darshan. He has a conversation with Supreme Personality of Godhead, direct eye to eye. And then the Supreme Lord disappeared, and after some time, Narad Muni wants to see Krishna again, and he started performing tapasya again, and he was doing tapasya year after year, and then finally he had a voice from Lord Narayan saying that, "Oh Narada, know for sure that I will not reveal myself by any of your mechanical gymnastics. You cannot please me by any of your mechanical gymnastics." So Lord told Narada Muni that you have seen me once in this lifetime and you will not see me again. So continue what I have told you, continue by devotional service. At the end of the life, you will see me again. So that explains the Swarat aspect of Supreme. Swarat means completely independent. Nobody, absolutely nobody can force Krishna to do anything. Krishna will do whatever he wants to do only by his own sweet will. We cannot force him. So when Narada Muni is trying to see Krishna second time, that's what Krishna told him. You will not see me again. You saw me once, that's the end of it. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also saying the same thing. We should not force Krishna to present before us. We should not force ourselves to Krishna to see. We should train ourselves in such a way that our existence is purified, and we do menial service to Vaishnavas, Krishna's devotees, and Krishna and Krishna's devotees, that the Krishna is pleased, and so that Krishna, by his own sweet will, he will reveal to us. So the atheists are those people who have atheistic ideas. One of the first questions they ask devotees who try to preach them, they say, "Can you show me God?" Right? So that goes against this mood of humility. Why? If Narada Muni, who saw Krishna personally, cannot see Krishna second time, what is anybody's qualification to see Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji. Because in most of the devotees that Bhagavatam, in Bhagavatam we have like everybody, all the devotees are actually aspiring for Krishna's darshan. So this is something completely like
Yeah. It is, Prabhuji. That's the reason our goal is to please Guru. What physical capacity, quote unquote physical, what physical capacity we have in Kali Yuga to please even Krishna, Prabhuji. We cannot even please our Guru. What to think of Krishna?
Just to add in our morning prayer, right? Vishnu Chakravarti talking in the last verse. Yasya prasade bhavat prasada yasya prasada nagati. Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Sri Charanaravinda. So like I keep saying, Prabhuji, the single outlet is Guru. From Guru's lotus feet, everything else reveals.
Thank you very much, Srinivas Acharya Prabhu, for your wonderful class on Ekadashi morning. Does anyone else have any questions, or should we wrap up? Yeah.
I think we should wrap up.
Yeah. Thank you, Srinivas Acharya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare